Whether my screen is visible? Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome everyone to this certificate course in education technology organized by Kerala Ayurvedic School of Excellence. And today's session is about micro-teaching. The other day we discussed about teaching process, and other things. So what different methodologies will be more effective for engaging our learners. All these things were discussed in the last session. And you have been continuously listening to various terms and terminologies in education. Now I hope that all of you will have some sort of orientation about educational science. So with that background, assuming that you have a good background of the basic principles of education, today's session is aimed at creating or providing you an experience on teaching in a controlled environment. Usually we do this session as a physical session, but since this is an online thing, opportunity was given to all the participants to record a short presentation or a short teaching about a small concept and then pass it on to the organizer so that they can play it, and then they'll get feedback from the stakeholders. So that is the idea of this session. I believe that this session is definitely going to be an eye-opener session, and is going to be really an enlightenment for all the participants, not only for the participants, for we teachers, we faculty also, organizers also. So these are the objectives of today's session. At the end of this session, you should be able to define the term micro-teaching, and you should be able to explain the different phases of micro-teaching cycle, and you should also be able to explain the different teaching skills and observe micro-teaching session. Definitely, all of you will get opportunity to observe different micro-teaching session by your own teachers, and you will get a chance to provide feedback on their performance. So these are the objectives of this session. And now coming to the definition of micro-teaching. You all would have seen microscope. What do you see in a microscope? Can I have some response? What is the purpose of a microscope?
For getting a magnified image of something, a small portion.
Very good. So you get the magnified image. That means you get to see even the minor details which you can't see through your naked eye, isn't it? So same thing happens in teaching also. Usually we see teaching as a broad thing, as macro teaching, what we call it as macro teaching. Even for LKG, if you want to handle LKG or UKG student, the teachers have to undergo a rigorous training in teaching. So if that is the case for LKG and UKG student or school education, imagine about the students whom we are handling. They are all adult learners, more than 20 years, 17, 18 years old students, and with a varied experience. And for them, without any experience, we directly, after post-graduation, we directly start teaching them. So there comes the need for such training, teacher training, so that we can equip our teachers with teaching skills, so that they go and stand in front of the learners with more confidence, with more skilled, with well-equipped and more motivated. That is the purpose of this micro-teaching. So as someone said, in microscope, you get more detailed information about an object, which you cannot see in an naked eye. In micro-teaching also, you get an opportunity to understand about your teaching ability in a more detailed manner. So all these days, we may be thinking that we are doing a good job, or we are skilled teachers, or we are good at teaching, we are good at reaching our learners. But when we are exposed to such controlled environment, we come to know about our strengths and weakness. So that knowing our strengths will help us to build on our strengths. Knowing our weakness will help us to minimize the weakness, so that we become a full-fledged teacher or a holistic teacher. So that is the aim of this session. And as I told you that for an LKG or school teacher, they require rigorous training, isn't it? So you imagine a teacher, imagine swimming. So all of a sudden, if someone asks you to get into a swimming pool, it is just like pushing a teacher, immediately after post-graduation into teaching. It is equal to what? Getting into a swimming pool without a swimming training. Training in swimming. So it is like that. So, but you just see here in micro-teaching, you are slowly led into, first you learn to swim in shallow region, then you slowly raise the height, and you learn to swim in a deeper water. So that is the difference between what ordinary teaching and then after getting training in micro teaching. So that is this is an analog for difference between micro teaching and macro teaching. Okay, what is micro teaching actually? Any idea? Any thoughts about this? Can you please, can I request all the participants to switch on your video for a while? So any thoughts about the meaning for micro teaching? Dr. Gopi Krishna?
Sir, it's
Yes,
the
sir.
duration. For a shorter time duration, we are going to, for example, 5 minutes or so, we are going to give the small topic so that we are going to observe in a whole. Saying
Very
regarding
good.
the some kind of the examples what he made. So like that.
Okay, very good. Okay, well said. So it is called as micro teaching is a scaled down teaching, as Dr. Gopi Krishna said. It is why it is called a scale down, but when compared to macro teaching, where you take a big topic, large topic for a large group of students for a larger, longer period of time. But in micro teaching, the main focus is on developing your skills. We don't give much importance for the content. It is not content specific. It is more skill oriented. So here the aim is to train the teacher. That is why it is called a scale down teaching. How we are going to train the teacher? So we are going to give them an experience of teaching a small group of students for a shorter period of time for a small identified content, for a content identified, for a small concept. So that is why it is called as micro teaching. So micro teaching is a scaled down teaching encounter designed to develop teaching skills. So is the definition clear? Good. So this definition was this actually this was an education experiment conducted in 1960s at Stanford University, and later on they came out with more than 300, 400 skills, and even Indian National Council for Education Research and Training, they have identified 200 plus teaching skills for both for school teachers and college teachers. But all those mastering all those skills may not be that much easy, but when we move on in our professional ladder, out of experience, we acquire certain skills. But there are certain core skills which needs to be trained during our earlier period of our profession so that we can do justice for our teaching. So that is this micro teaching. So what is the concept of micro teaching? Micro teaching is a teacher training technique which helps the teacher trainee to master the teaching skills. It requires the teacher trainee to one, teaching a single concept of content. So actually it is a teacher training technique. There are a lot of teacher training techniques available because a teacher has to play different role. As I told you in my earlier session, teacher not only plays the role of a teacher, guide, mentor, coach, instructor, counselor, all these roles, resource creator, resource mobilizer, all these things we play different roles. But the role of teacher is unique here because it is the core role that we are playing in a classroom situation. So to play this core role, we need to acquire certain skills which we call as teaching skills. So to play these teaching skills, a teacher has to play two different roles. One is the teacher behavior, other one is the teaching behavior. The teacher behavior is the behavior that you show in front of you, there where you become an actor in front of your learner. That means your attire, your voice modulation, the way you present, the way you smile, the way you do your gestures, all your non-verbal gestures and verbal gestures. So when it comes to the teaching behavior, how appropriately you are transacting the content with respect, by connecting it with appropriate methodology and by connecting it with appropriate teaching skills. The way you explain, the way you question, the way you show and give an example. So all these things become the teaching skills. So teacher behavior and teaching behavior. So here in micro teaching, you get an opportunity to select a small content because without any content, you cannot prove your skills, isn't it? So only for that purpose, you need the content. So otherwise, we don't give importance for the content. You are assessed only for the teaching skills, not for the content. So teaching a single concept of the content using a specified teaching skill. There are, as I told you, there are a lot of teaching skills, hundreds of teaching skills. So, but we are going to only look at the major teaching skills. So you select one particular, teacher is given opportunity to select one particular teaching skill. So for which the teacher will train, rehearse, identify a content, train, rehearse, and then practice in front of the students in a small group of students, and that too for a short period of time. So teach a single concept of content using a specified teaching skill. That teaching skill can be a mini lecture. Usually in higher education, we call it as mini lecture. And as I circulated a guidelines for you, I have named it as mini lecture. But there are also other skills which we will be seeing in the forthcoming slides, subsequent slides. So, and it is practiced for a short time. Usually it is for 5 to 7 minutes, not exceeding 7 minutes. Sometimes in other training institution, they even give 10 minutes. Okay, to a very small number of students or participants. So this is the concept of micro teaching. Then what happens in a micro teaching? One, it enables teacher trainees to learn and assimilate new teaching skills under controlled condition. What do you mean by controlled condition here? What do you mean by control condition? Can someone recall what we saw in the last slide? That is the control condition. What is the control condition? Small concept, small group of students for a shorter period of time, and only one specific skill. So that is why it is called as under controlled condition. Then the next thing is micro teaching is micro in the sense that it scales down the complexities of the real teaching. In real teaching, a lot of complexities are there. Can you name some of the complexities, Dr. Vijaya? Ma'am, are you there? Or Dr. Vandana? Ranu?
Sir, actually, I don't know the answer, sir. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So no, I'm just asking you, what are the complexities you face in real teaching, in macro teaching?
Sir,
You have
in a
been in
large
teaching
group of
for,
audience, sir,
yes?
a large group of audience, that is, backbenchers cannot be able to hear whatever we are saying. Those one
Good.
such
So
aspect.
backbenchers will not be, well, that is one comp. Very good. Well identified. Backbenchers will not be aided. So what is the skill required for a teacher here? Audibility. The
Yes,
voice
sir.
modulation, isn't it? So exactly, you have identified one complexity and you have identified. So how will you make up this complexity, overcome this complexity? Through your voice modulation. So here the skill that is to be developed by the teacher is the voice modulation, isn't it? Good. Then any other complexity? Any others?
Body language
Uh,
or
doc-
actions.
Yes. Actions by the teacher. Good. So in macro teaching, though in macro teaching also you can show actions and other things, but how much a teacher is aware about all these things, that is a big question mark, isn't it? It is a complexity. So there are a lot of complexities starting from planning a session, progressing progressing with the session and closing the session. So starting from planning means your teaching starts not only in the class, your teaching starts before you start the class. You start planning what you are going to teach for the next day, how you are going to teach and who are your learners, what resources you are going to use, how you are going to introduce the session. Okay, and what type of questions you are going to ask. So all these things becomes part of your planning. Even what joke you are going to crack, what story you are going to tell, which example you are going to tell, all this becomes part of your planning. So the complexities start from planning, execution, and ending the session in a macro teaching. So all these things, complexities can definitely be overcome if you get proper training in micro teaching. So that we'll see how it happens. So master a number of teaching skills. There are a lot of skills that needs to be mastered by a teacher. But as I told you before, we are going to focus only on the core skills and practicing one skill at a time. So how we are going to develop the teachers in all these skills? By focusing on only one skill. So for example, if you take the skill of writing on a chalkboard, nowadays people are not writing on a chalkboard. So now because of the PowerPoint, most of us depend on the PowerPoint. Now students have got boredom with the PowerPoint. Now they want their teachers to teach, use interactive methods by using chalkboard or blackboard or other methods. So students got really fed up with using PowerPoint. There is a very good article on PowerPoint, which is titled Death by PowerPoint. I don't know how many of you have read this article by Harden. So you just go through this article, Death by PowerPoint. We are just killing the students I mean, we are just creating boredom in the class by using excessive use of PowerPoint. So that is why now teachers have realized the importance of interactive teaching. One way of interactive teaching is using Blackboard effectively, writing, drawing, asking questions, making students to come to the chalkboard and then write. So that is again one skill. So you choose one particular skill, say using the Blackboard effectively. That is a skill, and then you practice that, and then get feedback, and then you become a teacher, skilled teacher in using Blackboard. Then there is one more skill called as questioning skill. So you practice. So you identify one particular skill, prepare a lesson for that, use that skill, get feedback so that you master that particular skill. So like that, one by one, if you practice each and every skill, you acquire a holistic idea about all teaching skills. So after 1 or 2 years, definitely you become an effective teacher so that you can integrate all these skills in your day-to-day teaching. So that is the called practicing one skill at a time, and it is reduced class size to 5 to 10 people. This is what happens in micro teaching, and a short duration of teaching in 7 minutes. Okay, and the important thing is in micro teaching, you get feedback. So that is a mandatory component in micro teaching. Whenever you complete a micro teaching, definitely you should receive feedback from group feedback from the stakeholders. Group feedback here refers to the students, your peers, and your faculty members. Right. Now coming to the micro teaching cycle. So some of you have already sent your videos, already have done this micro teaching exercise, and then you have recorded it, and then you have passed it on to the organizers. So definitely you would have planned your session. Whenever you take not only micro teaching, any teaching session requires planning. So planning is something called as very important. Why? Because half well planned is half done. Isn't it? So once you plan, you know where to go, how to go, all those things. So when you plan, you know the objectives, and you know how you are planning to reach the objective. So planning is very, very important. Planning also includes what resources you are going to use, how you are going to manage the time, how you are going to assess your learners, how you are going to recapitulate. All these things will be part of your planning. Then the next stage is the teaching stage. Now, yesterday when the announcement was given for micro teaching, definitely the participants, whoever has prepared this video, they would have definitely prepared what they are going to teach. Then they taught, did their teaching in front of a small group of students or participants, and it was recorded, and they took feedback. Now feedback they are going to get now. So after the feedback, today's feedback, definitely they will go back and then replan their session. Now, after getting the feedback, you know where you are lagging, where you are good, what areas need to be improved. All those things you will get an idea. So you replan your session. Again, you reteach. Then again, you get feedback. So again, it becomes a feedback loop. So similarly, you can practice one single skill for 3 or 4 times. Definitely, you will get an awareness and knowledge or skill. You acquire the skill regarding that particular teaching skill. So that is called as a micro teaching skill. So planning, teaching, feedback, replan, teach, and then refeedback. Now with this, so what is the aim of micro teaching? So whenever you give feedback to micro teaching, the participants are expected to give more specific feedback. It is not just a value judgment. Okay, don't say that, okay, you are good, you are poor, you are excellent. So excellent means why they are excellent. That description should be there. So if you call them, okay, you missed this area and how you can improve. So like that specific feedback is important. See this figure? So you cannot simply call one particular person, a person say called you are fat. So that person should know why others are calling him as fat. So you should say your measurement, your weight is 150 kg. So more than 120 kg is considered as obesity or something like that. So you are called as fat, very fat or less fat or more fat, like that. So it should not be just a value judgment, so that if you are, if it is a value judgment, the teacher will not get appropriate feedback. They will not know where to get correction, where to correct, or how to modify their behavior. So they will not be able to identify the exact, feedback or exact information regarding their where they have to modify. That is called as this. That is the analog for this slide. Now, with this, we'll move on to the practice session. Now, I request Dr. Anila to play the videos. I hope the students have joined. And Dr. Anila?
Sir, actually, the students hasn't joined right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir, they're just joining, sir. Dr.
Okay.
The
So any idea? No, in the meantime, till the students join, I think we can interact with the participants. So any participant, do you have any previous experience with micro teaching? If you have previous experience, please share your experience. What kind of experience you had? Has any participant undergone any small teacher training or continuing medical education in micro teaching?
Sir, sir, am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
audible?
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am, please. You are. You
I'm
are.
Dr. Karthik. When we joined in the college here at Kottakkal,
Okay.
we had a
Okay.
session of teaching the teaching methodology. And at that time, we had a faculty who made us do a session on and recorded the video and then played it
Okay.
back and gave comments on that. That was
Very
also,
good.
we didn't have we didn't know about this time and all that. We just prepared a topic and
Short
took the
presentation.
We didn't have much of an
Okay,
idea.
fine. No, there is no hard and fast rule. Why it is called as, otherwise, if it exceeds more than 10 minutes, no, it becomes macro teaching. So micro should have a meaning. No, that is why that time limit. Otherwise, as you said, there is no hard and fast rule. The ultimate aim is to improve your teaching skill. Very good, ma'am. Thank you.
And at
Thank
that
you.
time, presented before our colleagues itself. It was not before students.
Okay. Oh, colleagues. Okay. So
Yeah.
now it is going to be before student. Why we have taken student? Because they are the main stakeholders, isn't it? So participants or your faculty will give feedback according to their maturity. But the real feedback we get, the real feedback is from the student. That only will help a teacher to equip, isn't it? Because we are going to cater the student, not the faculty. So of course, faculty can also give, but the real consumers are our students. So we need their feedback. That is the reason why we have called students for today's feedback session.
Sir, what is the difference? I mean, in between classes also, we try to get the feedback from students. Like in between, we ask them. So what is the difference between that and this?
Exactly. Now, that is in general. This micro teaching is more specific with reference to one particular skill. So there, exactly, that's a good question. Actually, what the feedback that you get in between your class is just feedback about the whole session. They'll talk about the subject, knowledge they gained, their experience, all those things about the teacher, all those things. But here in micro teaching, they are exposed to only one particular skill. Say, for example, skill of questioning. So you will get feedback only about skill of questioning. Say now in our session, we have given opportunity for the teachers to record a mini lecture. So you will get feedback about a mini lecture. So mini lecture includes all skills, integration of all skills. So if it is more specific, that why I have given mini lecture is, so it is a very focused course. But suppose if it is a 10 days course, in-person session, definitely we can allot 2 days exclusively for micro teaching, wherein all teachers will identify at least three important core skills like using skill of explaining, skill of questioning, skill of stimulus variation, or skill of using a chalkboard, or skill of illustration. Like that, there are different specific skills are there. So you get feedback on specific. Some teachers will be good at questioning. Some teachers will be good at explaining. Some teachers will be good at only introducing the lesson. After that, they become boring. So if you just include the trained teachers in specific skills, then it becomes micro teaching. What you get in classroom intermittently from the student is general feedback about your session. That is the difference.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I have the students join. Dr. Anila?
Yes, sir. I think we can pause the video.
Okay,
Sir,
good.
there is a send-off program going on in the college, so students are a bit busy with that. But we have
Okay.
arranged for students to join, but don't know what is going on.
Actually, Robin joined, sir.
Robin has joined.
Okay.
Yes. So I think I can
Okay,
share.
whoever has joined, I think we can start this session without any further delay.
Okay, okay.
No problem. I hope all the participants are having the rating scale printout with you. You are advised to carry a printout or either soft copy or hard copy. So,
Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yeah, Angela, you are audible, but I think
yes, yes,
JP sir.
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yeah, audible.
Oh,
Good.
Okay. Shall I play the video?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Something which promotes immunity. In Czechoslovakia, we all know that in Delhi, one of the Nili, Sila, Kovil. The local name or Malayalam name of that land is Pudukkottai. All of you are familiar with Pudukkottai. Now we can see the Sanskrit names of Bella, which are mentioned in our Nikandus. First one, Bella. Bella describes the property of the plant. That means it's promote immunity. Second is Vatya. Vatya meaning it is Vagashana. Namely, Bella is Vagashana. Then comes Vatyalika. That also means Vagashana. Then Rishiprapta. Rishiprapta means its property means it is an important plant mentioned in Ayurveda many centuries back. That is Rishiprapta. Then Chasha. Chasha means it's an important plant which is mainly with the immunity properties. Then comes the other names of the plant. Other names Kangadika, Gangerugi, Hraswagavetuka. All these names describes the habit of the plant. Kangadika means that plants, stem, leaves, all of them contain minute stipules. Then Gangerugi. Gangerugi means this plant grows near river basins or the area where moist soil is present. Then Hraswagavetuka. Hraswagavetuka means that plant is a shrub or herb with shrubby character. Then another name also, Pida Pushpa. That is the character of the flower. The flower, the Siddha longifolia plant has flower with color yellow. Then Pida Pushpa. All these Sanskrit names are mentioned in Guruchari Varga of Bhavanasthi. Then comes now we can learn about the varieties of Bella. Varieties, there are many types of Bella, even in taxonomy also. That is the genus varieties. Now, first variety is Bella Dvaya. Bella Dvaya means two plants, Bella and Adibella. Then Bella Chatushtaya. Bella Chatushtaya is Bella, Adibella, Mahabella and Nagabella. 4 plants. Next slide. Now we get all these varieties are mentioned in our Nikandus. Now the properties of the plant. Property, first one, the iodine properties, Rasa. Rasa is Tikta Madhura. Bella is Tikta Madhura. Guna, Guru, Snigdha, Pichila. First I said that Bella is Vata Shamana. The Vata Shamana property mainly due to its Madhura Rasa and Snigdha Guna is Vata Shamana. Then it's Pichila Subhava. It may be, you may be confused that Bella may be due to Pichila Guna. Kapha Vatsara property is Pichila Guna, but due to Pitta, Madhura, Rasa and Snigdha Guna, the plant is Vata Shamana. Then comes the pink. Even though Bella is Vata Shamana, its median is Shila. That is the main confusing point. All these properties are mentioned in Bhavaprakasana. Vibhaga is Madhura. That means that we can, that is also another confusing point. How it comes Kapashana. Then Karma, Kapha Shodhana. That is its pain, it alleviates. That is kapha shodhana, vada shamana, then immunity property. Balapradam, veerapradam. Veerapradam is also it enhances our immunity. Then shukra. Bala is shukra. So, because of all these karma, Charaka mentioned Bala as a main drug in Velya karma varga. Then comes the therapeutic indications. Then comes, now all of you may have some more confusions that we can overcome in the next class. Thank you.
Shall I share the second video?
1 second, ma'am. Please give the participants and the students some time to mark the rating form. I hope the participants are having the rating form with them and students also. So ask them to mark the rating form. Just give them few seconds to mark.
Nila, if you have the file, you can also post it in the messages now. Because someone, if they don't have it in their hand.
Already, I
you
think
can
the soft copy is there.
Posted in the WhatsApp group, PM sir.
Okay, I think we can start the next video, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning. Today I am going to deal with the topic Sanghi Yogas and its relevant modern anatomy and active practice. In the last class we have already dealt what is Sanghi Yogas, which are 9 in number. And most of these Sanghi Yogas affect the cannulus area, which is the median canal area. So the relevant structure there is the lateral sac. So I am going to deal with the lateral sac and which is a part of the lateral apparatus. So the relevant anatomy, the lateral apparatus. The lateral apparatus consists of lateral gland, which is the tear producing gland, and the lateral drainage system or the lateral passages. The lateral gland consists of two parts. It's the main lateral gland and the accessory lateral glands, and the lateral drainage system consists of the puncture, the canalicular, the lateral sac, and the nasolateral gland. Let's have a look at the lateral apparatus. This is the lateral gland, the position of the lateral gland. You can see this is near to the lateral canthus. From the lateral gland, this arrowheads, they actually show the secretion of tears, and it is secreted into the over the eye, over the conjunctiva, and it forms a tear film over the eye, and it gets cooled near the medial canthus, which is known as that pool. The tear pool is known as the canthus lacrimalis. From there, the tear enters to the drainage system. First through the puncta into the canaliculi. From this is the upper canaliculi, this is the lower one, and these two join to the lacrimal sac. From the lacrimal sac, the tear passes on to the nasolacrimal duct or NLD, and from the NLD, the tear gets drained into the inferior meatus of nose. Just have a look at the lacrimal glands. The lacrimal gland consists of main and accessory lacrimal glands, and the main lacrimal gland consists of two portions: the upper orbital part and the lower palatal part. The upper orbital part is the larger part, and its size and shape of a small almond, and it is situated in the outer part of orbital plane of the frontal part. The lower palatal part is a smaller one, and it consists of 1 or 2 nodules. And the ducts of the lacrimal glands are 10 to 12 in number approximately. They pass downward from the margin of the gland to open into the lateral part of superior fornix. 1 or 2 ducts open in the lateral part of inferior fornix also. Next comes the accessory lacrimal glands. There are 2 types of accessory lacrimal glands. They are the glands of Cross and the glands of Porphyry. Next, the structure of the lacrimal gland, they are seen as SIE, which is similar to our salivary glands. The blood supply of the lacrimal gland is through the lacrimal artery, which is a branch of ophthalmic artery. The nerve supply of the lacrimal gland. The sensory supply comes from the lacrimal nerve, which is a branch of ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve. Sympathetic supply to the carotid plexus as a part of cervical sympathetic chain, and the parasympathetic supply by the secretomotor fibers derived from the superior salivary nucleus from the pons to the lacrimal nerve, which is the lacrimal gland. Next comes the lacrimal drainage system of the passages through which the tear, which is secreted by the lacrimal gland, is drained off from the eye. It consists of puncture, canaliculi, lacrimal sac, and the nasolacrimal duct. First one, the lacrimal puncture. They are small rounded or oval plates in the upper and the lower lid, and they are located temporal to the tubercle area. And each puncture is situated upon a slight elevation, which is known as lacrimal pathway. And this puncture dip into lacus lacrimalis, which I have already told you, the pool of tear, which is a collection of tear in the inner canal area. Next comes the lacrimal canaliculi. The puncture open into the lacrimal canaliculi. There are superior and inferior canaliculi to join puncture to the lacrimal sac. It consists of two parts which are at right angle to each other. First one is the vertical part, which is 1 to 2 mm in length, and next one is the horizontal part, which is 6 to 8 mm in length. Next comes the valve of Rosenmuller, which is a fold of mucosa at the junction of canaliculi and sac. Its function is to prevent the reflux of tears. Next comes the lacrimal sac. It is located in the lacrimal fossa, which is located in the anterior part of the medial orbital wall, and its size once distended with tears. It is a length 12 to 15 mm, breadth 5 to 6 mm, and the volume 2 cc. Next, the parts of lacrimal sac consists of three parts. The upper one being the fundus, next the body, and the lowermost part of the neck. Fundus is the portion above the opening of the canaliculi, and the body is the middle part, and the neck is the lower small part, and the step is continuous with the nasolacrimal duct. Next, the end of the nasolacrimal duct. It is located in the body canal formed by maxilla and the inferior turbinate. Externally, its location is marked by a line joining inner campus to the alar force. The dimensions of the nasolacrimal duct extends from the neck of sac to the inferior meatus of force. Its length is 15 to 18 mm, and it consists of an important valve called the valve of Hasner, which is located at the lower end of the nasolacrimal duct, and it prevents the reflex from the force. Again, just to memorize, this is the lacrimal gland. This is in this figure, the main lacrimal gland is only shown. The accessory lacrimal glands are not shown. From here, tear gets secreted into the eye, form a film, form a pool. From there, these are the superior and the inferior puncture. From the puncture, it enters into the canaliculi. This is the superior inferior canaliculi to the sac to the nasolacrimal gland. So thank you. Hope all of you understood. Thank you very much.
We can give few seconds for the participants to mark this form. After 30 seconds, you can play the next video.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Robin.
Hello.
Actually,
I have had both the classes and it was really conveying. While coming to the first class, that is about the Bella. The way the pace of the class was really helpful for understanding the matter.
Ma'am, now it is not the feedback session. Dr. Robin?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now it is not the feedback session.
Robin.
Please mark and then wait for. We will see the all the videos. Then we'll go for finally to the feedback session. Okay.
Robin, please wait for some time. Be in the conference. Finally, you will be called upon to give your comments. Is that okay, Robin?
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Please start the next video, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Please play the next video.
So good morning. Today we are going to discuss about leaf shape. Okay. In the previous class we have discussed about the leaf. What is a leaf? It is a lateral dissimilar appendage seen in the stem because it is a different structure than stem. It should contain an axillary bud in its axis. That is another important point. And we also discussed about different types of leaves. Simple and combo. Then phyllotaxy. What is that phyllotaxy? Anyone? Arrangement of leaves in stem, on stem. So today we are going to discuss about need and identification of leaf shape. Then different shapes of leaves and method to easily identify these shapes. Okay. Then what is the need of identification of a leaf shape? It is a simple and easy method to identify a plant. It's an important taxonomical step for the identification of plant. Then, most of the other characters, that is floral characters and fruit characters, are not visible almost all time. So, the leaf is the simple and easy method for identification of plant. So, this is the most significant or most important point about leaf shape. So, these are the shapes. Okay, I think most of the shapes you already go through the books. Is it easy to remember all these things by seeing this or seeing a certain list of shapes? Is it easy? No. So there are certain methods, certain easy methods that through that we can easily identify a leaf shape. So for going to that, see, this is it. Is it? So what are the dimensions in a leaf? It's having a length and a breadth. Is it? So according to different modalities of these two dimensions, we can easily identify a leaf shape. See, if there is no breadth, only a needle shape, then that is called acicular, usually seen in pine. Then some breadth is there. This shape is linear, usually seen in grasses. You know, almost all grass, linear shape leaf is the shape. The next is some more broad in the center. See, all these area, center is increasing. So, this one. What is that? That is lanceolate. We can easily identify this lanceolate because most of the plants are in this shape. Most of the common plants are leaves are in this shape. Then next one is somewhat larger. Here also the center portion is broad. That is what? Ovate. First example is very alligator leaf. Okay. So in this we can see the breadth is increasing in the center. So acicular, linear, lanceolate and ovate. Then another option is if the breadth is increasing the basal portion, then what? See. There, usually we can see two types of this. One is cordate. Chinospora polycordate. Then certain appendages or projections in the basal portion. That can be sagittate and hastate, usually seen in convolvulaceae members. Next option is the breadth is increasing in the tip portion. So, this is the first shape where the breadth is in the tip portion. So that is ovate. Okay. So ovate and obovate. See the difference. The breadth is increased in the central portion, then that is ovate. The tip portion, then that is obovate. And another, the reverse of this coordination Venn diagram. There are other forms which cannot interpret like this. These are reniform, this kidney shape, is seen in secondary shape, and this one rotor, seen in lotus. Hence, we can easily identify through this method. Otherwise, it is very difficult. There are certain confusions. Ovate is there, then oblong is there, ovate is there. So, mixing of these two shapes or more than one shape is common in plants. Hence, we can easily identify through this two dimensions method. And now, you can identify all these shapes using this. Is it? Okay, any doubt? Nothing. So, we have discussed about different leaf shapes and easy identification methods today. Next class, we can have different types of margins and other peculiarities of leaf. Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, shall I post one more
Okay.
video?
No, enough. I think enough. I think. I think now we can take the feedback from the students, whoever is there. How many are there? Only Dr. Robin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will listen to Robin one by one. So, Mr. Robin, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Now you have seen 3 videos, 3 micro teaching performed by 3 teachers, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So now you can give your feedback for the first teacher.
Okay, sir.
So you have the form, evaluation form with you, isn't it? The rating scale, the form that was given to you is with you, isn't it? Do you have the form with you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, based on that, you
Yes.
please give your feedback first. Be specifically give based on the form, then you can give your general feedback. Yeah, please give your feedback for the first teacher.
The class was conveying. The pace of the presentation was really good. It was understandable. The way of the way that the teacher explained about the type properties and therapeutic properties was really good. And while explaining about the properties, the Vada Samana, something like that, the explanation for that was also given. Why it has got Vada Samana property, and it will help a student to get more idea about the topic. And it was the first class was really conveying.
Good. Okay, any other areas for improvement where you can suggest some areas for improvement for the teacher?
The PPT can be some more interactive to the students.
Okay.
It was the PPT in the second presentation was really good, as it include more pictures and something like the diagrams, and it has if it was like that, it would have been more good.
Okay. Then anything else? Any other suggestion you would like to give to the teacher?
So that's so.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to the next teacher. So your comments, your feedback for the next teacher.
The class was really good, and it was also conveying as I said, the way the PPT was presented was PPT was made was really good. It include many pictures and diagrams, and it will help a student to get what the teacher want him to know.
Okay.
And the pace was a little fast, and it will make sometimes it is confusing, little confusing.
Okay.
And if it was a little slow, it would have been more good.
Okay. Okay. So how the teacher can make it better if a second chance is given to her? Suppose what is your suggestion for her?
The class was good, but the speed, if it is a little more reduced, it will be good.
Okay, so pacing should be there. Good.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So any other comments? If there are no comments, you can move on to you can give feedback to the third teacher.
The third teacher was the presentation was really good, and teacher has used the PPT and the whiteboard at the same time, and he has used almost all the equipments for a teacher in a really nice way. And it has helped, and at the same time he has used the PPT as well as the whiteboard, which will help the student to know more about the thing that he's teaching. And he was also trying to be interactive with the students, and it would help a student to be attentive in the class. And the third one was really good.
Good. Good. Any other general comments you would like to tell for all the teachers in general as a current generation student? What do you expect from teachers?
Apart from just focusing on this syllabus and this textbook, more information should be given by the teachers to the students as they expect more. And the usage of the, as I said, the usage of the PPT whiteboard and all that day, and the classes should be active in the class.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Robin. So any of the participants you would like to suppose if any of the participants you would like to ask any questions to the students, you can pose the question. Suppose in general. Okay. So thank you, Robin. I think Dr. Anila, we can disconnect Dr. Robin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Robin, once again. This is the
Thank you.
Robin,
Thank you for your valuable comments.
Robin, you can leave the meeting. Okay.
Right. Good. So now, dear participants, now you got to listen from a student's how he felt about the three teachers, isn't it? So you know now you know the expectations of the current students. So of course he has given a very good feedback about the three teachers. He did not say much about, he did not share any negative comments, of course, but he specifically said why each and every teacher session was effective. He underlined, he specifically said why the first teacher was effective, why second teacher was effective, and how the third teacher was effective. So for example, for third teacher, he mentioned he used multiple media. He showed the PowerPoint, interacted with the board, drew something on the board, and then questioned the participants. So that way, he said that third teacher is more interactive and then more effective. Then second teacher also, he said that the teacher was using PowerPoint and similarly. So it is from the student level he has given his feedback. Now as a participant, now as a peer to the teacher, as a member of the faculty. So what do you feel about the three teachers? Now can we have the participants feedback one by one about the first teacher? At least three of you can give your feedback. Someone please come forward and then share your feedback about first teacher. This is a good opportunity to look at others' performance and then learn. At the same time, when you give feedback also, you learn many things. We are called as reflective practitioner or reflective teacher. Unless we reflect what happened and what we experienced, we cannot, grow. And we will not know where we are and whether we are progressing or not. So this is a good opportunity for you. So without any bias, you can share your honest feedback.
May I, sir? May I?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Anupama Krishnan here, sir.
Please go
Sir,
ahead.
I think, yeah, regarding the first teacher, I think one very interesting part which Madam was telling at the end, that there could be a possibility of doubt which could be discussed in the future classes. So she was keeping a scope of doubt and further exploration. And I think all the teachers did well. And yes, I think the points which Dr. Robin had shared, I agree to them. I also try to look at it from a student perspective also. But I feel that spontaneity and I think teachers have this way of narrations which are very, very subjective, also makes a difference in classes. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other specific comments? Specific comments so that it will help other faculty as other members of this forum. So the idea is how to become a better teacher, how to create better teachers. So like that your focus, your feedback should be focused on how to become a better teacher. Good. Dr. Gopkrishna, please proceed.
Sir, actually none of them has specified the objectives at the beginning, what you are doing.
Good.
That is
Yes.
the one and first and foremost that can be, I think, that can be improved. And second thing, as such, none of them has the proper body language regarding the standing. That was the second teacher. I think she has taken both the hands backwards. Probably that may be one of the things that may not be able to, the students may not be able to connect the things properly. And I think the Vivek sir has said very nicely regarding the content, etc. And even the regarding the use of multiple modes of teaching. That was highly appreciable, sir. This is the thing that is the only thing that I have made out. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. Good observation. Good observation. Very good. So any other participants? Like that, we need specific feedback. So because feedback is improved at improvement, I mean, focused at improvement, aimed at improvement. So it is your feedback that is going to help them. Yes, Dr. Jigesh. Please, sir, please go ahead.
Govishna sir told, as per the criteria, there was no set induction in the first two classes. Set induction was not there. Lesson planning was also not presented, I think. And other things are okay. One thing I would like to ask, what about the whether we have to stand still or we have to make movements?
I'll come to that partly. Now, see, while giving feedback, you should not interrupt others. That is, you should be a patient listener. Now you are giving feedback. Only our duty is to listen to you. That is a good question. Definitely, I'll attend to that. I'll explain. Yeah, definitely. Good.
My concept is considered there was no body movement. Only the third person made movements to the students. He came to the students. It was not present in the first two classes.
Okay.
That's what's
good. Very good. Very good observation. Very good observation. Then any other?
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Roma. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I think the class was a little bit monotonous. They didn't go anywhere else from the topic. It was just the topic, the topic, and back to the topic. So there was nothing. There was a point about are they using any anecdotes or jokes to create interest, so that was not there. But the topic, I think, dealt with, they had good content knowledge, so they presented it very well. And maybe it was because it was in front of a video that they were a little bit conscious. Maybe that is why some things
that is
happen.
there. That will be always there. Good. Yeah.
And the speed was also, I mean, when you're as Robin said, the second class and I think the third class was also a little bit speedy in nature.
Fast.
A little bit paced for the students to understand. For me, I was also student in that. So, and the posture also, sir. The posture was a constant posture. There's no much of an interaction. That's also.
Okay, there is no movement. Okay, good. Good observation, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. So please keep your questions ready so we can have an open house discussion at the end of this. Okay, then anything else? Any other participants? See, madam has mentioned about monotony. Sir, Dr. Jihesh has mentioned about body gesture. The previous speaker mentioned about interactivity. So like that, see, each and every participant has identified some critical area, some important behavior that helps. That will definitely help the teacher to next time if a second chance is given, they will come prepared. So this is how the feedback should be. Good. Then any other points? So to give feedback, you should be a good observer because next section is going to be that I don't want to discuss now. So unless you are a good observer, you cannot you cannot do justice for the feedback session. So if you would have observed carefully, use the rating form, the standard given to you, then definitely you should be able to give appropriate feedback. That is the purpose why you are given that evaluation form. If there are anyone would like to give feedback, we can engage them, or else I'll move on to the next session. Next part of the session. Okay. So having listened to the feedback of student and teachers, now let us listen to the feedback from the faculty. So third level. So there are different feedback, isn't it? One, usually whenever you give feedback, you don't take only from the student or the peers. We also take the feedback from the administrators or from our head of the department or from other higher ups. So because each and every person is a stakeholder in this, and every person looks at the performance in different ways. Okay, just like we are looking the floor from the first floor, from the ground floor, from the first floor, from second floor, third floor. So the person who sees from the third floor, entirely the view will be different. The person who sees from the first floor, the view will be different. But all of us are looking at the same thing, but the view varies. So now we are going to get the feedback from the faculty of case. Can someone from case give your honest feedback?
Should I?
Yes, sir. Yes, Dr. Mukesh.
Most of these teachers are senior to me, so I will think that they will take it in the right spirit. Sir, actually, the set induction could have been better in the first two classes and even in the third one. We could invoke the students' interest by either asking an interesting question to them or by narrating a case history or something like that. For example, the first teacher taught about Bala. The Bala is one of the important drugs that is being taught in Ayurveda, that is being used clinically in Ayurveda. So maybe she could have narrated some patient story, and this drug gave very good benefit to that patient. So we are going to study about that drug today. So like there's some detection could have been given in the first thing. And again, as Jigish sir told, the body postures could have been better in the first two classes because they were staying at one point. Maybe too much of movement may distract students, but maybe some movement would have kept them interested. And the pace of the class also could have been varied, I think, at different points of the time. And the other things, the materials were organized in a logical sequence in most of the classes. The use of whiteboard was seen only in one session. The other two sessions, they were not using the whiteboard. Especially, I think, in the second class when the teacher explained about that anatomical structures and all. Apart from the PowerPoint, she could have used a board where she could have drawn that picture so that the students could have taken the eye from the PowerPoint and to that drawing. So a whiteboard could have been used more effectively. I mean, blackboard. Then in between the sessions, they could have again just went away from the topic and come back for some time because of that, to avoid that monotony. And voice modulation was also not that much evident in the class. Body cues also was not there actually. Body cues could have been used to. In the third class it was there, but in the first two classes it was not. The third class actually solicited and raised several questions, but was not found. But regarding in the third class, even though the teacher was asking the question, maybe because he had that small time gap, he himself was answering. He didn't give that think time to the students and wait for the student to respond. He asked the questions, but suddenly he only answered the question. So maybe he could have given some thinking time for the student to respond, so that he could have appreciated them as well during that time. And summarizing at the end of the class, all of them could have told the students these are the take-home points that we have learned. So summarizing could have been done. Other than that, all of them handled the sessions very nicely, and they need a special appreciation as well, because when we asked all of the participants to send the videos, they were ready to be criticized. They prepared the video. I mean, there are also other videos. I'm not telling, but all the teachers who send the videos, we appreciate them very well. We all are in the learning process. So always we commit mistakes every day on a day-to-day basis. So it's not like all are perfect. So
very good. Very good. That shows their attitude. That point you raised here, no, when you asked for a video, when a teacher is ready to send their video, that shows their attitude, their confidence, and the determination to improve their skill. That is it. So they're ready to receive comments. That is where lies the progress. Well said, Dr. Bakesh. That's how a teacher should be. That's why I said we should be a reflective practitioner, reflective teacher. So
even,
that very good.
Even some of them were also ready, because here the validation camp and so many things are going.
Okay. Anyway, still these people should be appreciated in spite of their busy schedule. If they could make up this one, that shows their involvement in teaching, passion towards teaching. Good, very good. It doesn't mean that others are not, but still these people deserve some more appreciation. So very good. So I think you have consolidated the whole feedback session about all the three teachers. Very nice. So, so I think from my part, I don't have much to say, because everything has been told by the participants, because there cannot be a better feedback other than the students, because student has already given. Only thing is we got the feedback from only one student. If it is from two or more students, definitely we can generalize the feedback also. And we received feedback from the participants and from the faculty also. And from my side, as many of you have noted, I have also noted some core some predominant thing where these teachers can improve. One is that they all have the good qualities of a good teacher, the personality, their voice, and all these things are okay. They have the way they have prepared their lesson. Everything is really to be appreciated. One important thing is, what I have noted down with the first teacher is, it was a monologue. Already this has been cited by this. So monologue is the first thing the teacher, see, when you give feedback, there may be a lot of things for improvement. So where the teacher should first focus on, what should be the priority? So the first teacher priority should be that he or she should make the class more interactive. It was just like a monologue. It was a pure didactic lecture where she was just a sage on the stage, delivering the content continuously with monotonous voice. So as a teacher, as Dr. Jigesh raised this question, what about the body gesture? Definitely body gesture gives life to your words, life to your voice. See, if you look at the second teacher, she was tying her hands in front of her. So once if your hands are tied, definitely your voice will not get the modulation. You cannot bring out the gesture. Only if the voice, see this voice and action, the body gestures have a connection. If the voice raises, automatically your hands and then body movements come in, so that you become an actor in front of the students. Actually, we are an actor, we are actors in front of our students. So body gestures convey a lot of message to our students. So that keeps them alert, that keeps them alive, that keeps them more focused towards this thing. Because we know that each and every student is unique in their thought. And each and every teacher should meet these uniqueness, should know this uniqueness, and then try to cater according to their needs. So that should be this thing. So that was with regard to the first two teachers. And third teacher was really interactive, and he questioned, wrote on the board, rephrased also. He tried to rephrase, but as Dr. Mukesh said, he did not. He questioned, and then after the subsequent questions, he himself answered, questioned and then answered. But thing to be appreciated is that he was interactive and compared to the other two teachers. So now the question is, how to now, having known all these things, how am I going to improve? So that is why, see, when you are asked to give feedback, it is not just your overall assumption, overall perception. So we have given a standard to you. So the standard starts like this. Did the teacher started the class well? Whether planning was done, whether the contents are organized, whether there was voice modulation, whether the teacher gave example, whether the teacher asked a question, whether the teacher solicited question, whether the teacher developed the lesson appropriately with proper sequence. So there should be progression in the lesson, isn't it? So the first teacher had this progression, but then she did not check whether the learners are with her or not. So I mean, intermittently there should be some sort of questioning, some sort of interaction, so that we can check whether our learners are with us, whether they are following us or not. That kind of thing was not there in the first two sessions. And even the second teacher was reading the slide. So reading the slide is not advisable, but if you want to read the slide, you can give the slide beforehand. So there is no purpose of having a slide and then reading it. No. So you can have the slides with minimum content and try to explain that with some examples. So again, citing example is again one more skill teachers should learn. So I think which we are going to see in the subsequent slides. So I think all these teachers have done justice to their thing. If they think that if they want to do more justice to their students, and if they think that they have to reach almost all the students in the classroom, definitely this feedback will help them. So ultimately, you have to see whether if I am a student, whether I would like to have this person as my teacher. That should be the question in your mind. So whether I want this teacher to be taught to me. So that kind of question should be there in your mind. Then if that is there, definitely we will see how we can improve. So with this, I'll move on to the next slides. I think this is a good opportunity for all of you to witness many. I mean, some of your fellow members presentation and then receive feedback on it. So having undergone this practice session, is there any questions from the participants I can address?
Sir,
Yes,
I have one question, sir.
Yes,
sir,
please.
All the three teachers were standing in a place away from the students. Is it okay
correct.
to walk in between them?
Yes, you
okay?
can walk without hiding the content. You can walk without hiding the content, but your movement should be purposeful movement. Some teachers, in the name of walking, being active, to show that they are very dynamic, they'll jump from one corner to other corner, and then that will distract the students. So you cannot always walk, but your movement should be purposeful movement. What do you mean by purposeful movement? You can walk towards the object. Suppose you are demonstrating something, you can just show it in left hand and then demonstrate it. Or the second speaker was using the pointer to demonstrate. There was a picture. That is a good thing that we should learn from her. So though she was reading the slide, but when it comes to the explaining the diagram, she used the pointer to explain the diagram. That is called as interaction. So that is one kind. Suppose if someone asks a question, you go near to the student. So it is called as the proximity. So it is a zone of proximity. Once you go near to the student get recognized. Oh, this teacher moved towards me. So he or she feels like asking more and more questions. So that is called as this makes the students involved in the teaching learning process. So movement should be purposeful. You can show, you can acknowledge their response or answers. You can recognize them by showing your body gestures. Suppose if someone answers, you can shake your head, give them some positive reinforcement, positive gesture, so that they get recognized they get acknowledged for their response. So that is one thing. So as far as movement is concerned, it should be very purposeful and meaningful movement.
So it is actually a very planned, natural session. Is it okay if I say that we should be planned, but it should look very natural also?
Yeah, exactly. It should be planned, but it should be exact. See, you say all of a sudden you will not acquire all these skills. I am telling it just like that, but it is very difficult to acquire. So out of experience, out of training, it can be trained. The purpose of this session is to say that you can acquire teaching skills. That is the purpose. Say, for example, there are leadership training programs conducted by various agencies. Do you think they are creating leaders? No. It is not possible to create leaders in one day leadership program. Only thing is they are creating awareness about how they can become effective leaders. But leadership quality can be trained. Isn't it? There is a saying that leaders are born, but there is another saying that leaders are bred. So leaders are bred means the leaders can be trained. Similarly, some say that great teachers are born. But most of the time, great teachers are trained. So it is possible to train great teachers. So micro teaching is one such training thing where you can train teachers. Yes, ma'am.
So one more question. I'm sorry if I am
Yes, ma'am.
troubling you.
Sure,
So,
ma'am.
so
No,
I
no.
was also told that a teacher should never sit in classroom. So, and teacher should stand
Never?
on the platform. I had never come, as you have just mentioned, that we have the liberty to walk. I was actually
Yeah.
told by a couple of teachers, that you should not actually walk among them. You should maintain a distance, and you should never sit in the classroom. You should always maintain a standing posture. Is there any
Correct.
such,
See, actually,
does it really have
yes,
an
there is a reason for that. I'll tell you there is a reason for that. You should say there is a reason for why you should not always keep walking, or you should not go very near to the student. So there should be some social space. Always there should be some social space wherever you go. So that social space should be maintained, one thing. So it should be purposeful movement. Third question is very important. Why people say that a teacher should not sit in the class is that you should show your learners that you are active, energetic, and enthusiastic. Once you start sitting, all these non-verbal gestures, all those important vital movements will not come out of your body. You cannot elicit those vital movements. That is the reason that we always advise that teachers should not sit in the class. It is not hard and fast rule, but if you don't sit, definitely you will acquire all the activeness. So a teacher is expected to be dynamic. Only if you can be dynamic, only if you are standing. As a sitting teacher, you cannot. You can sit occasionally, very rarely if it is more than one session, or if it is going to be an observation session, or where your student is presenting something, it is a seminar, where you can sit and watch and then give your feedback. Even when you give feedback, please stand, come to the center of the hall, and then give your feedback, share your this thing. But while teaching, definitely you have to stand and teach, not stand and teach. You have to move and teach. It is not walking or this thing. You have to show purposeful movement, moving your body, moving here and there without hiding the board or without hiding the PowerPoint, and without showing your back to the learners. That is more important. You should never show your back to the learners. And you have to scan the learners. Suppose if you for example, if you stand in one corner, only that particular focus of, only you will be focusing only that particular student who are in your better angle, convenient angle. So the rest of the students you will miss. And once you miss their angle, you will not be able to have an eye contact with the other student. Once you miss their eye contact, students will lose their attention towards you. Once the students lose their attention, they will not follow you. That's all. So that is why you have to move purposefully towards one group of students, the next group of students, towards this thing. So at that movement should be, that is why we always say it is purposeful movement. To gain attention, to make the students alert, to make them to focus their attention towards you. So all these things are part of this movement.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome. So any other question? Okay, if there are no questions, we will move on to the next slide, that is about the teachings. Now you happen to see different teachers, 3 teachers, but though there are 3 teachers, they are equivalent to 300 teachers, because each and every teacher gives you some message to you, whether it is a boring teacher or effective teacher, ineffective teacher. I would say that each and every patient is a teacher for you. In a medical college, each and every patient is a teacher for you. Similarly, when you observe other teachers, definitely you learn a lot of new things from the teachers. Don't think that what is this teacher is going to tell me, what this teacher is going to, what am I going to learn from this teacher? Each and every teacher has something to say. So what are those things? So some teachers are good in planning this thing, lesson planning. Suppose if you look at the lesson plan, if they look at from the way they teach itself, you can say, wow, this teacher has planned well. The way they organize their content, you can easily say, yeah, this teacher has planned well. So you have to develop the skill of writing your lesson plan. Even for this micro teaching, definitely some of you who have prepared micro teaching, definitely they would have written a micro lesson plan. So which is called as micro lesson, because why it is called as micro lesson? Because you prepare for a 5-minute class. So when you prepare a macro teaching for a 40-minute session or 1-hour session, definitely you should have a plan in your hand, which you call it as lesson planning. So which should have, as someone said, as Dr. Gopi Krishna, someone said, none of the speaker displayed their objectives of this lesson. So as a teacher, you should first of all tell the students what are the objectives of today's session, that particular session. So if you plan your lesson, if you have developed the habit of writing lesson plan, definitely all these components will be there. You know what you are going to teach, what are the objectives of the session, how you are going to teach, the methodology, what resources you are going to use, and how you are going to engage your learners, and what type of questions you are going to ask, and how whether I'm going to narrate something or I'm going to tell some stories. And usually we don't entertain humor in teaching, but occasionally you can use humor in teaching. So all this, and how you are going to conclude the session by summarizing or by asking question, or how you are going to recapitulate what happened in the class, all these things will be part of your lesson planning. So again, lesson planning is the first skill, and it is the foremost important skill a teacher should develop. For that also you can use micro teaching. Then the next important skill is introducing a topic, that is set induction. So it is the set induction that paves way for what getting the attention of the learners. So you should learn how to introduce a topic. There are different ways of introducing a topic. A teacher can go with a small newspaper clipping. A teacher can start a session with a startling statement. Say, for example, today 100 children died out of cholera in one village. So it is a startling statement. All the students will pay attention towards you. Today morning, what happened to, today I fell down in the bathroom. So immediately I got this. So students will say, so some teachers even come with a bandage and then say, so students themselves will ask, say, what happened. Then the teacher starts the lesson from there. So you can show a diagram, you can show a picture, you can show a small video. All these things will serve as a trigger for the learners. So set induction is very important because we get students with different mindsets. So it is this set induction that helps the students to focus towards the objectives of the class. Then the next important skill is stimulus variation. For every, the focused attention of human being is 8 to 10 seconds, and the sustained attention is 20 minutes. That is why you see TV ads are shown not more than 8 seconds or 10 seconds. Every 8 to 10 seconds they change. That is why we are always sitting in front of the TV. But do you think our students like to sit in our lecture halls? Because there is no much stimulus variation. We keep on talking, but instead, if you think that if you want to keep your students to continuously listen to you, continuously sustain their interest, you have to vary the stimulus. Stimulus here refers to your question, the way you ask question, the levels of question, the way you show the diagram, cite example, how you narrate, all these things are stimulus variation. So what color you are using, what color chalk you are using, what color pen you are using, what diagram you are using, what picture you are using. Don't continuously show them with PowerPoint. Go and interact with the board, write something on the board, ask them some example, show them some picture, then again go to the board, involve the students, ask them to come and write on the board. These are some of the ways how you can vary the stimulus in a classroom. Then the next is the reinforcement, that is positive and negative reinforcement. When you get a good response from the student, say good, very good, well done. So can there be any other answer? So that will reinforce the learner, this positive reinforcement. Suppose if we get a negative, undesirable answer, just give them some negative reinforcement. Shake your head, saying that no, it is like that. So shake your head or say, no, okay, there are some other better, please try some other better answer. So that is for the negative reinforcement. So reinforcement helps the students to stay with you, stay connected to you. Then the next skill that the teacher should develop is important skill is probing question. So as Winston Churchill used to say that people used to ask him, sir, how you are a good speaker in the parliament? He said, it is very simple. I have some 6 servants with me. So they asked, who are they? So it is nothing but what, which, when, where, how, when, why not, all those things. So if a teacher is capable of using all these question tags effectively in a classroom, definitely he can easily handle the content with the help of the student. Instead of you telling the content to the student, you just use the question tags to elicit responses to unfold the content from the student's mind. So that is where the role of probing question comes. So ask the student, throw a scenario, ask the student, what is this passion? What is your opinion about the passion? What does the vitals tell? What strategy you will use? How is there any other management strategy? What critical treatment decision you will take? Is there any potential drug, adverse outcomes for this out of this treatment? So you ask probing question. Probing question is what, which, when, how it will happen, when it will happen, where it will happen. So all these things becomes part of this questioning. So again, that is an important technique. Questioning is an important skill which a teacher can train with the help of micro teaching. Again, explaining. People, see, we human beings like narration. So when you move from one content to another content, one particular concept, or next information, always there should be a connecting link. So therefore, hereafter, so that connecting link should be there. If that is there, definitely that flow of content, that means you are linking one incident, one particular information with the next information appropriately, so that our human brain, it is called as brain-based learning. So we are fully depending on our brain for learning. So you should learn how to engage the brain for effective learning. So this explaining links, we call it as explaining links, because this effect is because like that. So due to, so these explaining links should be appropriately put in between the content so that you can narrate certain things very easily. So once narration is there, people always tend to get concrete information. Otherwise, your information becomes more abstract. So narration is one thing which can be made more effective with the help of skill of explaining. So skill of explaining. Then the next skill is the skill of illustration with example. So the student, Dr. Robin, and one of our participants also mentioned about the micro-teaching, that the teachers did not use appropriate example. So always using example, life experience will definitely make students to involve in the learning process. So cite them some good examples, cite them some life experiences. This is again another art of a teacher. Art a teacher should develop. So this is a skill. So always for each and every content, what facts and figures you can tell. That is an important thing. What example you can cite. From where you can, definitely all contents will have example. All contents will have some illustration. So try to illustrate it either in the form of an example or in the form of a diagram or in the form of some anecdotes. So illustration with example is very important. Again, that is an important skill. For that also you can do micro teaching, take a content and then try with only illustration. I have seen some biology teachers illustrate their content only with diagrams, which is otherwise called as illustrated biology. There is a book called as Illustrated Biology. All these systems are explained only in the way of diagrams. So say, for example, circulatory system, only diagrams will be there. There won't be any text. Only labels will be there and diagram will be there. It is called as illustrated biology. So for endocrine system, only illustration will be there. See, we are multimodal learners. The one content cannot be learned always with the text format, with the audio format. So you provide learners with some illustration. So if they miss something in questioning, they will compensate here. If they miss something in introduction, in explaining process, they will compensate here. Then the next skill is called the skill of using chalkboard. So again, that is the most wanted skill by the present generation student. Present generation students are fed up with the media because always they are with the media. From when they get from the wake up from the bed till they go to the bed, they are always with their mobile phone. Already they are oversaturated with the media. So only it is the classroom that is going to give them a different experience. Apart from PowerPoint and multimedia, please try to give some live experience, live teaching to a student by using the chalkboard. That is a skill. So you should also learn to use how to use a chalkboard. So how to use space, judiciously. Some teachers you will scribble here one corner, the other corner. You have to learn to organize your content in the chalkboard. Move from left to right, top to bottom. So like that, organize the board, the space of the board appropriately into 2 or 3 portions and write the content. Or segregate, write the facts and figures in one column. So pictures in one column and content in one column. So like that you can organize. And the way you write on the board should be legible. So the measurement here is that if you, the minimum space between the chalkboard and the first bench student should be 10 feet, at least 10 feet. Okay, that is the minimum. Less than that is not advisable. And for a 10 feet student, the measurement is 3 inches of. So accordingly, if you have say for example, a 50 feet room, so you have to multiply into multiplication factor. So for 10 feet, the word size should be 3 inches. For 20 feet, it should be 4 inches. For 30 feet, it is 5 inches. So accordingly, you have to write in the board. So that even the last bench, the people who are sitting in the last bench will be able to see what you have written on the board. So don't write running letters. It is not advisable. Always write in broken letters. Okay, so anyone can understand. But running letters may be beautiful for you. But of course, if you write in broken letters, even the least student in the class can understand. So these are some of the tips to use chalkboards. Then using audio visual aids. So don't use the audio visual aids just for the sake of using them. So it should have a purpose. PowerPoint should have a purpose. Video should have a purpose. Your diagram, the chart should have a purpose. If you show a real object, some plants or herbs like that, or if you show some medicine, so it should have a purpose. So audiovisual aids should have their purpose, use them appropriately. So don't overload, or there is something called as the cognitive load. So don't overload your students with more and more information and lecturing. So this is what we witness. So at higher education, we focus on lecturing. So lecturing is not just a didactic lecturing here. It is an integrated lecture which integrates all these skills. Introducing the topic, using different types of multimedia, using your body gesture, body movement, reinforcement techniques. You ask the way you ask question, the way you connect the information by using explaining links, the way you show example, illustrate, draw, and use the chalkboard and audiovisual. See, when you integrate all these things, then it becomes an integrated, interactive lecture. So that is what we want from you. So do you think that teaching is an easy task? No. Think of integrating all these things slowly in your teaching. So use take one particular skill and then train yourself by using, with the help of this micro teaching technique, then you will definitely become a better lecturer or a better teacher. So that is this thing. So skill of lecturing. So with this, finally, you should also learn to what? How to end a session. Closing. Some teachers will teach nicely, but when it comes to ending, they will abruptly end. So our mind, as I told you, it is brain-based learning. The brain needs to be initiated. The brain needs to be functionable, made to be function, and the brain needs to be switched off. As you go for a dinner, there will be some starter that makes you to what? Get appetizer. Increase your appetizer. Say soup or something, it increases our appetite. Then we go for the main course. So we take full course up to the throat, isn't it? Suppose if there is no payasam, or if there is no, the so-called dessert or ice cream, you will feel something incomplete, isn't it? So and you go home, even though that person has given you a good dinner, you will go home with some sort of, so if that dessert is there, that I think it would have been a better end for a dinner. So that kind of thing is there already naturally in our mind and in our body. So closure helps our brain to consolidate the information. So your closure should be effective. The closure here refers to how you are going to summarize, how you are summarizing the whole class, summarization. So that is, so by asking question, you can summarize, or asking learners to recapitulate what they learned. That is also one form of closure, or you can summarize it with point by point. So this will help the learners to consolidate what happened in today's environment and help them to what? Carry with a good message. So they will go with a good take-home message. So that is it. So if all these things happen, there are also other teaching skills are there that I did not mention here. These are called as the core teaching skills. As I told you, the Stanford University has identified more than 400, 500 skills. Our NCRT has identified 240 skills for school teachers. But we don't train all these things because it is not possible. Then lifelong we have to train only the teachers. Only they will be involved in training. But these are some of the core skills. If you take care of all these skills, definitely all those minor skills will automatically get attached to this one. So as teacher, please be aware of all these things and see how you can train yourself. Any questions in this slide? Are you all with me?
Sir, I have a question apart from the slide. May I?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Sir, talking about the Stanford University, sir, I have seen a few videos of them. So the dress code in the Western world and our teachers is drastically different. Does it really carry a message, sir? Being informal and formal, both for teachers and students. Tell us, sir.
Ma'am, very good. It's a very good question. Very good question. There are three core pillars in education. One is, first pillar is the philosophical foundation. We believe in certain philosophy. Ayurveda, for example, you believe in Charaka's philosophy. Am I right? Charaka is Ayurveda.
Yes, sir.
So what philosophy you believe in? Okay, you believe in some philosophy, isn't it? Similarly, allopathy believes in some philosophy. Homeopathy believes in some philosophy. School education believes, and in India, we believe in certain philosophy. Not only India, even Western world also believe. There are many education philosophers like Rousseau. Like there are many people. Tagore has his own teaching education philosophy. Gandhiji has his own education philosophy. He said, so education should be a winning bread for the learner, isn't it? So similarly, we believe in certain, that is the first foundation. So as far as our philosophy is concerned, we are more disciplined. We believe in certain philosophy. So that makes sense of one thing. Second foundation is the psychological foundation, where we take care of the psychological parameters of the learners. That is the motivation, interest, intelligence, all those things. If you ignore this one, you cannot teach your students. Third one is the sociological foundation, which is otherwise called as the socialization. Unless you socialize, allow your learners to socialize, they cannot learn from others. They will think that they are the only learners, they are learning what they are learning is correct. So here comes this clothing, this dressing code. Dressing code is something that is pertaining to the socio-cultural context of that society. In Western society, as far as their socio-cultural context is society, wearing a t-shirt and going to a lecture hall, it's not an issue. But in our culture, wearing a t-shirt is not advisable, because it is something that we don't admire, we don't advise also, we don't like also, isn't it? So it is something pertaining to the social, for their socio-cultural context. But there are also some universities, certain universities have their dressing code, say they have to wear the overcoat and then come. Here, as we have to wear a white coat for teaching, definitely they're also there. But there are certain institutes where they don't insist on. Say, for example, in the IITs and IIMs, they don't have a dress code. But in medical institutions, we have a dress code, because we have to make the learners to feel that we are doctors. So how do they know that we are doctors? There should be some symbol on us, isn't it? So it's a white coat. How will the patient know that we are doctors? How will the patient know that we are healthcare workers? So that is the role of the healthcare worker. So automatically we gain some respect from them. That is one thing. And in teaching atmosphere, always we insist on dress code, because your dress should not disturb or distract the learners. It should gain attention. Okay, so that is especially female teachers or male teachers who wear the jeans and t-shirt. We don't advise them. Even you wear anything, but you come with a white coat. So lady teachers can wear anything and come, but provided they should wear a white apron and then come for the class. So that is it. Have I answered your question, ma'am?
Sir, you said 4 pillars, sir.
The fourth one is the technological foundation. Sorry, the fourth one is the technological foundation. So a teacher should be aware of all these 4 foundations. One is philosophy, what philosophy we believe in, what is the understanding about the psychological parameters of the learners, and the third one is the socialization, that is sociological foundation. The fourth pillar is the technological foundation. That is, the current teacher should know what appropriate technology can be used in their class, for which content, which technology, to teach and assess their learner. So that is the technological foundation. So as I told you, if you're using AV8s, you cannot just like that use an artificial line. You cannot just like that use a web platform. You cannot just like that use a online software. Okay, there should be a purpose. So unless as teacher we know the purpose and why we are using the technology, how this is going to have an impact on our learner, we cannot use the technology. So selecting appropriate technology becomes the fourth foundation, technological foundation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So I think I can move on to the next slide. So these are the advantages. I think these points are all self-explanatory. So macro teaching is done in a safe and controlled practiced in a controlled thing. It is practice teaching, and it can be practiced continuously. So you don't require others. So a group of 4 teachers or 5 of you can join and then say, okay, let us come together and we will practice one, but today we will practice questioning skill. You practice and get feedback from each other. So next day, definitely you will see a lot of improvement in you. This is how you have to improve. So you don't require now a formal, this session is just to introduce you micro teaching. Now it is left up to you how you are going to develop all these skills. So as I told you, you form a learning circle, teacher learning circle. We call it as TLC, teacher learning circle. So identify some like-minded people like you who have passion towards improving their skills, who have passion towards education. So form a group, say, okay, for the next 2 days, we'll practice skill of questioning. Next 2 days, we'll practice writing a lesson plan. Next 2 days, we'll practice skill of explaining. So like that, you practice in 2 weeks time, definitely you will see how a lot of improvement in your behavior, teaching behavior. And it gives you get immediate feedback. If you do like that, you will get immediate feedback from your peers. And based on the feedback, you should have an open mind, feedback receiving behavior. This is called as feedback receiving behavior. That's what we are going to see in the next session. So it helps in elimination of errors. So whatever error which you are not conscious at present, you will come to know all those errors. Now you will get a mindset that you have to correct those errors and you become a better teacher. So in the making of better teacher, definitely micro teaching is a very good, effective tool. And it contributes to building confidence. Definitely this will give you more confidence also. So, and enable supervisors to project model instructional behavior. Now use 2-3 models of instructional behavior. what to take from them, what not to learn from them. Each and every teacher will have some information to learn, and each and every teacher will have some information not to learn. Even from me also, don't think that since I'm teaching, I am a great teacher. No, every day I'm learning from my participants. Every day I'm learning. Every day I'm modifying my behavior. There cannot be one single method of teaching that will satisfy all our learners, or there cannot be one single teacher who can be called as a better teacher, because all teaching is a progressive thing. It is a progressive event. It is not one single event that determines. It is always towards progression. So enable supervisors to project model instructional behavior. So every time, whenever you see any teacher, you see what model the teacher is following. So that is this thing. So there are also limitations in micro-teaching. The skill acquired during micro-teaching may not be internalized. Unless you practice these skills in macro-teaching, you cannot internalize. So don't think, okay, I have attended micro-teaching thing, I have acquired the skill. No, you have to slowly put it into use. Put into use in your macro teaching, and slowly you yourself will see you are internalizing. And one day, without your consciousness, you will definitely be continuously using these skills. And integration of several skills in a classroom situation is not an easy task also. That is definitely it is a challenging task, but out of practice, definitely you can make it possible. And micro teaching sometimes meets with resistance from teachers. Sometimes teachers will resist. They will not take the feedback in a good sense. They will take it in offensive sense. So that sometimes will create problems. So you should be prepared for that, or you should see how you are going to overcome those challenges. Then soliciting cooperation from colleagues and students is also difficult. As I told you, forming a student circle or a teacher circle is also difficult. So you have to identify like-minded people so that all of you can develop together. So this is a summary finally. Scale down individual micro teaching is scaled down individualized training technique under the supervision by experts and feedback from peers and experts. It increases the confidence of the learner and the teacher and helps to get deeper knowledge regarding the art of teaching. So as I told you, teaching is an art and science. Micro teaching is with regard to the art, because it is with regard to your performance. When you talk about the science of teaching, it is with respect to the planning. Okay. So I think I think we have overshot the time. I think if you permit me, I'll say thank you and then we'll join the next session. So any questions?
Thank you, sir, for a wonderful session. Open for discussion.
Sorry, my mic is muted.
Sure.
Sir, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Hello,
I'm
sir.
audible. Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please ask.
As a part of summary, you had shown that it would enhance the confidence of the learner as well as teacher. I don't know.
Yes.
I didn't understand why it increases the confidence of the learner.
Very good. Now you ask Robin what he gained out by participating in the micro teaching session. What did he learn? Definitely Robin will come and say it is a good, exciting experience for me. Now he was given the responsibility of keen observation. It is not just observation. And he will know how to give good feedback to the teachers if he is asked for next time. Understand? Usually learners will not come forward, and then I appreciate Robin. So he has that confidence of coming out and then giving feedback to his own teachers. Isn't it? So how many students do you think that they'll give frank and honest feedback? So slowly you have to, it should become a movement. Feedback, this micro teaching and feedback culture should be a movement so that it becomes part of our educational culture. As of now, it is not part of our educational culture fully. So because learners are our main stakeholders, unless they give you unbiased feedback, honest feedback, we cannot improve. So it becomes, that is what it says. That's what it mentions. It's a good learning experience for the learners with respect to giving feedback and then learning from the teachers. And next time they know what to look for. Understand?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. See, this is a good message for you also. As teachers, we should know. See, when we are calling students for the feedback, first time, second time. So when they start giving feedback next time and subsequent sessions, they know what to ask for, what to look for. Now, the same, if you ask Mr. Robin to give feedback tomorrow, he will come out more confidently with some more areas. Today, he was very polite, isn't it? He was very modest in giving the feedback. But if you again and again involve him, definitely that will increase his confidence, provided there should be acceptability from the teacher side. So if you show more acceptability, that will give more confidence for him to come out and then say more frank feedback, honest feedback about the teachers. As I said, it should become part of our teaching learning culture, educational culture of our institution. Or I can say it should become institutional culture.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. So I think we can, if there are no questions, we can wind up. Yes, sir, please.
Actually, it is a thing what we practically face. We will be taking a topic continuously, and as the time ends, we will be stopping the class. So whether we have to give the lesson planning in each class, or is it possible to give like that?
Lesson planning, you need not share with the students. You can share with the students. Suppose if you want to share the lesson plan, don't share it in the form of the lesson plan. One day before, just tomorrow, suppose if you are going to take less, 1 or 2, 3 days, say now your organizers are sharing the resources, isn't it? So for this, we shared the resources 2 days back. So you know what is going to happen from 6 to 7:30 today. So this, not in the form of lesson plan, you can share with your learners what they are going to learn, what is going to happen in the next session, so that they will come well prepared for the session. So that way you can, but lesson planning is actually for the teachers to what? Plan and execute it. So that is the role of lesson plan.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, you don't have to share the lesson plan in the class. You can share it before also with the, if you want to share with the learners, you can share it beforehand. But in the class only you will what? You will share, so you will do those learning events, that is gaining their attention, telling the feedback, showing the objectives, recall what they know, then proceed with the lesson, guide them in their learning. Then what happens? Give them feedback, then ask them to perform, then assess them.
Yes.
Finish.
Yes. Okay. I understood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Excuse me, sir. May I?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead,
ma'am. Sir, when we find out that we have some drawbacks, see, for example, when I look at these things, I don't ask many questions. So how do we improve upon that? Do we have to ask some expert, or is it just we go to the next class and just practice? I didn't understand how we improve upon that.
I didn't get your question. Improve upon what, ma'am? Which aspect?
I don't ask many questions in class.
Usually, if you are a student, as a student, you don't ask many questions. Okay, fine.
No, as a teacher,
fine.
I don't interact much in class. When I look at these skills, that was something which I don't do very much. So now, how do I improve upon that? Do I practice it by myself, or what do I do to?
I really appreciate you for asking this question without any hesitation, ma'am. Most of the people will not accept their thing, isn't it? So they'll think that it is a weakness. So it is not a weakness. So it's a very good question. As a teacher, you don't feel like asking questions. You don't know. The problem here is that you think that you are very. You think that students have accepted you. That is one thing. Second thing is that you find you are within a comfort zone. Comfort zone in the sense, okay, I am comfortable with this content, taking this content with this particular method. Or just standing in front of the students and then telling something. I feel it is comfort, and you perceive that your students are happy with that. So for that, you have to take feedback from your students. First, ask your students whether they have understood or not, whatever feedback. So now you got a feedback evaluation form. Similarly, you can devise your own feedback. So the other day I shared with you 1 minute paper. What did I learn today? What made me to learn? Is there any muddiest point? Is there any other suggestion? Similarly, you can ask your students whether they are happy with your teaching, whether what kind of, whether they have any constructive feedback for you. So that is one way to know whether you are teaching correctly or not. Second thing is, so you said that you don't feel like asking question. So that means you are not involving your brain to what? Go back and then think. Reflect back. Suppose if you reflect back, suppose you have to put yourself in the shoes of the students. You are always thinking that you are a teacher. If you think that you are a teacher, definitely you will not understand from the student side. So you put yourself in the student shoe and then say, if I were a student, how will I would like to listen to this kind of teacher. So what kind of questions I would ask to my teacher? and you see whether as a teacher you are addressing these questions or not. Suppose usually I tell my teachers, if there are no questions from the students, as a teacher, you please ask question. So usually we ask, is there any question? If there are no questions, the teachers will wind up the session. But you have to have some frequently asked questions from your mind. If nobody asks any question, you pull out those frequently asked questions. Since you did not ask question, I am going to ask you this question. By way of asking questions to the students, then you will get more questions from the students. So that way you can engage. So asking question is a very, I will say that one important vital tool is questioning the student. If you are not asking question as a teacher, if you are not asking question, that means you are not thinking strategically. So as I told you that in the first, I don't know whether I shared with you or not, there are 5 C's a teacher should develop. The first C is he or she should be a communicator. C. You should be a good communicator. Good communication starts with asking question for a teacher. Then the second C is collaboration. As you said, do I have to consult with some of the experts or not like that? Yes, definitely you have to collaborate with your superiors or your seniors or your junior. So never mind whether it is junior or senior, when it comes to teaching, everyone has something to tell you. So collaborator, C, second C. Third C is the critical thinking. You have to think critically, what am I teaching? What kind of questions my students may have in their mind? If I am a student, what kind of question I will get? So that is the second thing, so critical thinking. Then third one is how creatively you can make your class. That is the creativity, fourth C. Critical thinking, creativity, and the final C is the connectivity. It is both online, offline, and social connection. So once you get connected to your learners, definitely you will not ask this question. Automatically students will come out with lot of appreciations, questions, doubts, apprehensions, problem. So all these things will provide you opportunity to talk to your learners. So all these, whatever questions now you raise, no. So once you connect with them, you don't have to bother at all. Automatically will come. Automatically they'll ask. See, now I gave you an opportunity. So the very first day I told you, one of the best meaning for teaching is creating opportunity. Once you create, these are the opportunities you are creating. Questioning is an opportunity. Explaining is an opportunity. Asking example, telling example is an opportunity. So these are all the opportunity you are creating. Once you create the opportunity, you don't have to bother. Now I have created an opportunity. Is there any questions? This is the only opportunity. Now see, 4 or 5 people have already asked some question. So this, not only 4 or 5 people, the way your question becomes an answer for all the other participants. So that is called as opportunity. So always see what opportunity you are creating for your learner. Information is available everywhere. Your learners don't want information. They want only opportunity to grasp the content, understand the content, and find, to show where they have understood the content. So this is called as what opportunity. This opportunity can be in any form. Maybe your body language, gesture, the question, the example, your anecdotes, the stimulus variation, the picture you show, the video you show, the scenario you give them. So anything can be an opportunity. Feedback, the feedback you give is an opportunity. The guidance you give is an opportunity. So that is why we say, it is said that teaching is nothing but providing opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Did I answer you? Did I? Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. I think we can wind up the session. We'll be having
Yes,
a break for 15 minutes and we can start in second session by 8:15, sir.
8:15. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll start at 8:15. Good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patient listen.
Thank you, sir.